I like to teach Gabe that life is bigger than just our backyard. I want him to learn to embrace the unfamiliar, because it just might turn out to be tasty.
Daddy, there's the Morocco!
Let me share a secret recipe. Discover an ingredient that fires your imagination. Choose other flavors to match. Find the best way to cook them. My secret recipe? Cooking without a recipe. Gabe and I were playing a game. He just picked Northern Africa, Morocco, off the globe, so I'm gonna make supper from there. I've got a simple package of chicken legs standing by for dinner tonight. These are a perfect base to start experimenting from. So I'll look around and see if I can find some authentic Moroccan flavors to jazz them up. This is gonna be fun. And I won't need a recipe, and neither will you. We'll figure it out as we go. I've never actually been to Morocco, but I've enjoyed its food many times, even though I've never had a chance to cook it myself. I do know this, though. Like any good food, it's simple once you get to know it. Now, somewhere along the line, I picked up an authentic Moroccan tagine. But don't be fooled by that word, because in Morocco, a tagine is just a stew. And I definitely know how to make chicken stew. I'll just stir some Moroccan flavors into it, like dried fruit, figs, dates, raisins, dried apricots, and nuts like cashews and almonds. But nothing says Morocco like their famous colorful spice blends, in particular, Ras El Hanout, which is simply cardamom, cinnamon, caraway, cayenne, and cumin. I had my first taste of Moroccan food in London, and on my way home from work one day, I spotted this Moroccan storefront restaurant from the top of one of those double-decker buses. Well, I went back on my day off and I had this incredible meal. I don't remember all of the meal, but I do remember the cinnamon spice blend. I'd never had cinnamon in savory food before. I always thought it was something you just added to apple pie. And just a pinch of cayenne. And last but not least, I'm going to add cinnamon to equal what I already have. In other words, the final spice mix is going to end up being half cinnamon. And there it is, my very own Moroccan spice blend. And it smells just like the Casbah. I think I'll make a spice rub. So I'm just going to throw in, I don't know, a head or so of garlic. Now this might seem like a lot of garlic, but remember, we're making a chicken stew. And by the time that chicken is done stewing, the garlic will mellow out nicely with the spices. And some olive oil. I really want this to come together into a nice smooth paste. I want to cut the chicken into slightly smaller pieces. Since I'm using legs, I'll just cut them into the drumstick and the thigh. You know, pastes like this are very commonly found all over the world. It's just a really easy way to carry spice flavor. I think I'll throw this into the fridge for a while, give those flavors a chance to get to know each other. But meanwhile, I'm hungry right now for some Moroccan flavors. We'll call this a travel appetizer. Now, Gabe loves his peanut butter and jelly, so I had an idea. Why not jazz it up with a little Moroccan style? Here's what I was thinking. Let's see. I'm going to put some raisins on top of it, dried fruit. And you know, instead of peanut butter, why not use another nut butter, like almond butter? And almonds are very Moroccan. And of course, Gabe loves his rye crackers. They're really good for him. I don't know about you, but I like simple. And this couldn't be simpler. I'm not actually going to put jelly on it this time. I think I've got that covered with the raisins. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here. We're going to see just how much of a culinary tourist my son is. And if he doesn't like it, he can have the plain one. There it is, 2 little Moroccan snacks. This is a great first stop on the road to Morocco. Gabe and I are off to Morocco on a cooking adventure. We spun the globe and he picked Northern Africa to go for dinner. I'm trying to teach him that great big world out there is sometimes full of unfamiliar things, but that once you get to know them, they're actually quite friendly. Like this authentic Moroccan tagine. In Morocco, this is just a stew pot. I'm whipping up a good old chicken stew, scented with authentic Moroccan spice flavors like cinnamon, caraway, cardamom, cumin, and cayenne, straight from the Casbah. I love cooking regional foods. You can be an explorer of flavors. For instance, in Morocco, the food is always sweet and savory. It's just that kind of place, probably because there's always fruit in season, year-round, which means there's always dried preserved fruits kicking around too. Fruits like, say, raisins or figs, dates, and dried apricots. Now here's where it gets really simple, because understand that in Morocco, both the stew and the dish the stew is made in are called the same thing, tagine, which means that theoretically, you don't need one of these to make a tagine. All you need is one of these, a pot. Dump everything in for the stew and just start simmering. It really couldn't be simpler. This is what I call everyday cooking. Now I'm just covering up the chicken with a little bit of water. I do want to add some onion to this. And onions, of course, are a perfect addition here because they too, like everything else in this pot, are sweet and savory. I've got an idea. I think I'm going to try stirring in some nut butter into this too. Why not? And a little bit of salt, a little bit of heat, and a tight-fitting lid. That's how you make a simple Moroccan stew. Now here's another simple Moroccan dish that you may already have in your house. A very common Moroccan ingredient, chickpeas. Mash them up, puree them into a dip. You've got easy-to-make hummus. Hummus is a traditional Middle Eastern and Mediterranean dip easily made from tender chickpeas pureed with lots of traditional aromatic flavors. To make this simple treat, begin by covering a few handfuls of raw chickpeas with lots of cool water. After an overnight soaking, they'll swell and rehydrate. Then, drain them well and simmer in more fresh water until they're tender and flavorful. Then, for lots of authentic hummus flavor, add a few heaping spoonfuls of tahini, a traditional sesame seed paste. Toss in a few cloves of garlic and the juice and zest of a lemon to brighten and intensify the overall flavor. For rich aromatic body, finish with a few splashes of your best olive oil and a flavor-balancing sprinkle of salt and pepper. Puree until smooth. Now, of course, you need something to dip into the hummus, and it's traditional to dip pitas into it. But you know, not just any pitas. I'm going to crisp these babies up a bit. Pita chips. So all I'm doing is just cutting these up into pie-shaped wedges. Pitas used to be exotic, but not anymore. Now they're so common we find them in everybody's kitchen. Now, there's any number of things I can do to these now, but I think today I'm going to brush them with a little bit of honey. You could, of course, just brush them with oil, say olive oil, but I don't know. Gabe likes honey. I'm in the mood for making them a little bit sweet. Now, here's one more flavor opportunity. You can sprinkle some spices right on top of the honey. I've got some anise seed and some fennel seed, both of which taste like licorice. But hey, you can use whatever spice you're in the mood for. To crisp these up, toss them in the oven, any temperature. I usually use 350, 400, somewhere in there, and bake them until they're crisp. You'll know when they're done. They usually finish up in, 15 minutes or so. Plenty of time to explore the world of Moroccan couscous. Holy cow, look at all the stickers. Gabe and I are culinary tourists today, cruising the globe looking for new flavors. There, look. He's learning that the great big world is full of initially unfamiliar, but ultimately friendly flavors. Hey, those are great lessons for the kitchen and life. We landed in Morocco, and now there's an authentic tagine simmering away on the stove. At first, tagine seemed complicated, but as it turns out, it's just a chicken stew with dried fruit and aromatic spices stirred in. Morocco's famous for a lot of flavors, the tagines, but also the local pasta, couscous. And just like Morocco's Italian neighbors to the east, this pasta is made from durum semolina grain, but it's processed a little bit differently. In Italy, the durum grain is ground very finely so that it can be kneaded into a strong pasta. But in northern Africa, it's treated a little more coarsely. In fact, it's only cracked, but then it's steamed and dried before you buy it. So what does that mean? Well, it's actually easier to work with. Unlike pasta, which needs a long simmering bath to get going, couscous, it only needs a quick soak. Oh, that's a cup or so right there. And then all you have to do is just cover it with hot simmering water. That's all it takes. Of course, I'm going to put a little salt in there too. At this point, the best thing to do is cover this with some plastic wrap and let it rest and relax in its nice little sauna there for a few minutes. It won't take very long. In Morocco, this would be made with a couscousière. Hey, if you like experimenting with authentic ingredients, maybe you'd like to try experimenting with authentic tools too. You know, it really doesn't matter where you're cooking or how you pronounce dinner. Every cook needs tools. Slicing, dicing, grinding, steaming, heating, we're all concerned about the same thing: flavor. In Morocco, cooks developed a uniquely shaped tagine. It cleverly captures moisture exiting from a simmering stew and directs it right back where it belongs, in the stew. A noble goal wherever you happen to be cooking. In China, the wok reigns supreme. It's arguably the most eloquent cooking vessel in the world. Its simple efficiency speaks volumes. It's designed for rapid cooking, so flavor and moisture have no time to leave the building. Now, what do you do if your food processor's broken and you fall through a time warp into a 17th century pesto lovers convention? Well, you take pestle to mortar and grind away. Many cooks love tools like these because they historically connect you to the task at hand. Food is the journey and the destination. Today we're pampered by super efficient cookware. There's really not much you can't do with a good thick pot and a tight-fitting lid. But that doesn't mean we can't be inspired by authentic tools from another time and place. Sometimes a little glass bowl and a fork is just what you need. And this fork really is the best tool for the job, because what I'm doing right now is fluffing the couscous. I'm sort of releasing it a bit, aerating it, stirring it up. Now, since we're in Morocco today, I've got a few more Moroccan ingredients up my sleeve. We can't forget olive oil, very common in Morocco. Olives. Let's see, I got some lemons in here somewhere. Mint. Okay, now this is really simple. It's almost like I'm making a salad in a sense, because I'm going to add a big splash of olive oil and something sour, something acidic. Now for some juice. And some olives. You know, I've got quite a selection of olives here, and they've all got their pits in them. So as I take them out, I'm sort of tearing the olives up a bit. You don't need a fancy knife cut to get olives in the couscous. Now, Moroccan food is known for its spices, but it also has a few fresh herbs mixed in, like mint. This is actually a very common Moroccan ingredient. Instead of chopping it, I think I'll just toss the leaves in whole, just like this. There we go. Actually, I think I'll add just a touch of pepper to this first. That should do it. Then, hey, just mix it up like any salad. Check this out. I spotted this idea in one of the food magazines that stuffs my mailbox on a regular basis. You know the ones I mean? Couscous stuffed tomatoes. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. I've been meaning to try it. All this tomato flavor is too good to throw down the drain. Here's where it belongs. That looks cool. I really like those. Gabe inspired me to head off to Morocco today. When I arrived, I stumbled across one of the simplest chicken stews I've ever found, an authentic Moroccan tagine. I can't wait to taste it. But you know, as I look at this, I know it's brightly flavored, but it could be a little more brightly colored. I've got just the thing for that. Saffron and turmeric. Turmeric actually doesn't have very much flavor, but it is one of the dominant spices in curries because it's got so much color. Saffron, on the other hand, is loaded with color and flavor. Those are actually the hand-harvested stamens from a crocus flower. Each one of those is hand-picked right out of the middle of the flower. And a little bit goes a long way. One more color. Cilantro, the world's most common herb. Stir that in. Now watch this color. It's just going to brighten up in a heartbeat. All right. Let's get all this Moroccan food on the table. And I finally dusted off my tagine. I think I'll serve the stew inside it. Here we go. Look at how that turmeric just added so much yellow color to this. It really brightened up. And the saffron, holy cow, I can really smell it. This is so cool. Wow, is that ever good? It's sweet and savory, but it's rich too, which is pretty impressive considering I didn't use chicken broth. I filled the pot up with water. Not bad. Simple. You know, when you cook without a recipe, a simple spin of the globe can easily turn into dinner. The fear of the unknown is universal, but so are simplicity and flavor. When you relax, you can do it. You can fill your table with the flavors of the world. Who's ready for some Moroccan?
I am.
You are? You would believe how easy this was to make.
That looks really, really, really good. Who chose Morocco?
Gabe did.
So what's in the couscous? The mint?
Mint and olive oil, some of the tomato, a little bit of lemon.
You can pick Morocco as often as you want, Gabe.
Boop. Boop. Oh, it won't come off. Oh, thank you.
That's Morocco, Daddy.